Guideline is a particularly unique retirement plan services provider who has taken a truly streamlined approach that no other provider has taken. Let's start with the cost. Their costs are actually listed right on their website at $8 per month per employee, plus either $39 per month or $99 a month, depending on the level of services that you would like. The main difference between the $39 and the $99 a month service options are that with the $99 a month option, you'll get a dedicated account representative versus the $39 a month option where you'll just have to call the general number or send an email to a general email. They also provide what's known as cross-testing if you need it, and that's a way to disproportionately allocate the profit-sharing contribution if you're an employer and you make a profit-sharing contribution to the higher compensated employees. Typically, a provider charges a little bit extra because it's extra work to do that calculation. This streamlined approach, though, doesn't just apply to the cost. It actually applies to the way in which they're set up. For example, they have several payroll providers that they provide either 180 or 360 payroll integration with, where they're also able to act as what's known as a 316 administration fiduciary, where they can sign the 5500 form, or they will sign the 5500 form on behalf of the client, unlike most providers who either won't do that or will charge an extra fee to do that, and will streamline the entire administration process that ranges from administration of loans to other features or other tasks such as sending out participant notices. It can actually make the process a lot easier. However, because they're a young company, they have a lot of young people working for them. And the technology is great. It's a very streamlined approach. I've used them for a few of my clients. They are pretty knowledgeable people, but it's not quite the same experience as a firm like Alliance Pension, who I've mentioned in another video, where the dedicated account representatives have years worth of experience. So there is a service difference there. There's also a limitation on the funds, which has both an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is that it allows Guideline to act as what's known as a 338 investment fiduciary, where they take discretionary control over the selection and monitoring of the plan assets. So certainly that's a benefit from a compliance and fiduciary responsibility standpoint. They offer 40 different funds, and it's a wide range of funds, primarily low-cost index funds, the kinds of funds that I recommend to my clients anyway. And there's just a few questions you answer, and you'll get directed into one of their risk-based models, very similar to what I create for clients anyway, or you can select any of their 40 individual funds. And it's a wide range of funds, so it's not that much different than most of the fund lineups out there in other plans anyway. So one could argue that it's actually not that restrictive in terms of what they offer you. However, in a time like this, we really have to be concerned about long-term inflation. And while there are plenty of equity funds that Guideline offers that can protect you against the declining value of the dollar, which is brought about by long-term inflation, you also, though, have a limitation, and that's on adding other funds that might also protect you against inflation, namely precious metals funds like gold and silver, which I've recommended to several of my clients. Now, of course, one can invest in those funds in other accounts outside of the 401k plan, so that's very easy to get around that. But not everyone has outside accounts, and not everyone will. And Guideline specializes in plans that have a small number of employees. I mean, you can be a larger company and offer a plan through Guideline, and it might work pretty well, but their real focus is on companies that have maybe 10 to 20 employees, maybe 30 to 40 employees. And as the plan gets bigger, there are sometimes more complexities. Sometimes there's a need to offer an additional plan like a defined benefit plan that Guideline doesn't offer. Sometimes there's a need to have life insurance in the plan, but Guideline is very restrictive and they do not allow life insurance to be owned within the qualified plan. But their structure is very low cost, and in many cases, they are the lowest cost provider out there in the marketplace. To give an example, no matter how much money you have in the plan, if you have 20 employees, you're going to pay $8 per employee per month, which is $96 per employee per year, plus either the $39 or $99 a month charge. And that's going to come out to around $2,000 a year. That is substantially less than many other providers, especially those who charge based on a percentage of the account value. And that will really come in handy and be a significant benefit as the plan keeps growing. Guideline is also restrictive in terms of how you can pay those fees. While you can have an outside advisor with Guideline where the company or the participants can pay the advisor's fees, Guideline actually requires the business, the company, to pay their fees, and they do not allow those fees to be passed on to participants. That's very good for the participants, a little bit less flexible for the company, but their fees are so low that any company, if they're going to offer a 401k plan, shouldn't have a significant issue affording that out-of-pocket cost. So overall, Guideline is not a bad provider, but they have some restrictions, and they're really best for smaller organizations that don't have a lot of complexity and don't have a need to add at any point in the near future or long term down the road another plan that's a defined benefit plan.